Okay, another locomotive which I got from eBay. Got it here. All I've done is I've opened it up to make sure it's good enough to send positive feedback. Quite happy with what I've got. So let's have a look at it. Being well packed, good to see. And what have we got here? Well, it's called Class 31 brush. Running number seems to deviate from 5579, 5578. I think that has been done over, maybe 2 into 5572, so I'll need to redo that bit there. And immediately when you turn it over you find out what's the problem, and it is the motor. I don't know if someone's broken the main plate or taken it off to see what's happening. Don't know what's going on. I know I've got a new main plate, so I'll have a look at that. There we go, that's the clip out. Leave it to one side and the motor bogie falls out. It's of a reasonable vintage, but looking at this, that bit there is good. It doesn't look as if it's ever been removed. The brushes are still intact with the insulating sleeve, although the brushes look as if they could be doing with a bit of attention. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and see if I can get the motor stripped down. Right then. Now I can't remember the guy's name, but you're probably all aware of the wonderful video. Is it Auto Virgin Trains? If I'm wrong, I'll get corrected. There's a screw, there's a nut, and this should lift off. And one ensemble. I now realise I should always do when I take these off is to indicate the way the magnet is seated. Seated. So I'm just going to mark there. And hopefully that should avoid confusion when I come to putting it back together again. Take the magnet out. And now the pole pieces and the armature should literally fall out of the bottoms. It's alright. I'm concerned that there are little bits and pieces sticking to the armature, or there were before I took it out. In fact, there's a little spring in here. I have no idea where that belongs. So, I've never seen one of those before in a Class 37 motor. Let's just leave that aside. And look at the colour of those brushes. Look at that. This is going to need a bit. What's all that gunge in there? My goodness me. Okay, that'll need a good clean. Here's the armature. Surprisingly, is that these nylon suspension bits here, which are effectively the springs, both seem to be in pretty good condition. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check the resistance of the armatures. As you know, these armatures are 3 coils, there's a 3-pole, and the way they're wired, when you measure the brass pieces, and the way they're wired, because the resistance should always be the same, the readings should be the same. So I'm going to try and measure these, and I bet it on ohms rather than volts. It's an auto ranging meter. Put the 2 things on there, I'm getting nearly 7 there. Good. That's what I'm expecting. Around about 7, 7.1, 7.2. Turn over to the next reading. Oops. And that's slightly higher, which does not augur very well. On to the third set of readings. That's 9, 10. Maybe due to bad contacts, that's 7. Which means I'll go back and recheck this middle one, because it might just have been bad contact with my meter probe. So I'll try again, in there and in there. And I would say that there could be no problem in there. Alright. Okay, I'll investigate that later on. It's a shame we've got some good working condition. Okay, what I'm going to do, have a little break. I'm going to go and see if I can find the main plate for the bottom of the bogie. All the screws are there, everything else is there. Give it a good clean up and we'll see what happens when I get back. Okay, since I've been away, I went and I got my little box of class 37 spares, and sure enough, in the box is the main plate. And I was right, because when I shifted all the stuff I got from the back of the cellar, I found this here in among all the junk, and obviously it's broken, so half the wheels have come out, so I can replace that. Everything else doesn't look too bad, so let's put that aside and let's get the motor pieces in here. I've cleaned this up a little bit, leave it a little bit of dirt on it, and I'm going to start off with this assembly here. It's quite grubby and dusty, so I'm just going to try and clean some of the carbon soot from the plate, the old trusty cotton bud. The contacts are a bit grimy as well, so I'll just rub that just now, just to take most of the grease off. And there, and on that side. Okay, and just to kind of give it a little bit of a shine, take a little fine file, just kind of rub it to make it shine a little bit, because I want these to make good contact with the wheels. Contact is made on this side, that grime can travel. There we go. Okay, so that's good, and I've got some contact grease that I'll put onto the wheels when I shift it. The rest of it looks pretty good. The spring, that's the contact there, so I'm just going to give that a bit of a rub. Maybe take any grease off. You want to try and make your contacts as good as you possibly can. The rest of it looks good. I don't see any point in stripping it down, so I'm actually going to take a chance and leave it as it is. Okay, the brushes. I found that brushes are very expensive, like £5 a pair. Which, if they're necessary, fine, but it's quite expensive. So I bought these from the internet, and there's 30 of them, so I can get 15 pairs of brushes replaced, but they're very finicky, and it took me a while to work out a technique, so I'm going to try my technique again. It worked before. Let's see if I can do it tonight. First of all, I've extracted 2 brush heads, but I'm actually going to extract a third brush head, which I'll explain later. So I've got 3 brush heads. Take the old brush, hold it into a clip. The old helping hands does pretty well, with the old brush head pointed down the way. Apply just a touch of fresh solder, grasp the old head, and it just came out quite easily. That's the first bit, and that's really, oops, I can't do it, there you go, really worn. Look at the size of that. Now, the next bit is the tricky bit, because you have now to fit this on to the end of the brush. So here's a wee technique which I've been working on, and hopefully it will work. I take the head I'm going to put on, let me take this out of the way, lay it on a flat surface, take another cube and lay it beside it with the pip to the side. Take the brush and lay it across both of them so that the end lies across the brush you're going to replace. The reason being that the 2 cubes are the same height, so I can now level the brush head, and as I push down and it fits in flush, I can hold it like that, apply some fresh solder, and as that's melting, again apply pressure there, hold it on, and that allows the brush head to push down on the brush to push, and then if you look, hopefully I've got a perfectly, where are you, there we go, a nice new brush. I've already done the other one, so I've now got 2 new brushes for my class 31, and these spare brush heads can go back in the packet. So if you can use that tip, I'm glad, because I tried to find other ways of keeping it balanced and it didn't work, and then I thought I need to get some level, and that's where that came from. So now I've got clean pole pieces, clean brushes, I've cleaned the springs, and I've now got my armature. These 2 little springs here, which go over the wheels and allow magnetism, lovely word that, eh? There you go, and there, they would just put a little bit of rubbish on them, so I'm just trying to clean that off. Good. The armature I've checked again and it is okay, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of clean again. Once you get the top off there, in there, bit of a clean round there. Although it looks pretty good. A little needle down the join to make sure we've got all the carbon soot out. No matter how many times you do this, it always seems to be another little bit of carbon soot. And there's a third bit in there. That's not too bad. Okay, I think I'm ready to reconstruct. Let's start off with the armature and the pole pieces. And of course, you know what I didn't do? I was very good to mark my pole pieces, but I didn't mark round which way they went. Ah well, I'll soon learn. Now, this has got to go in so that the armature head lies in there, So the pole pieces can go around here and here, hold them together, slide them in, fit the nylon guides. They're kind of squared ends, so they have to go into little cutout sockets with, as we look at it, these suspension pieces here towards us. Okay, now I'm going to fit the magnetron, magnesium magnets, one in there, one in there. The wheels, I'll do the lubrication later on off camera, I promise you, in there. And finally the main plate in here. Make sure it fits okay, and then the screws can be fitted comme ça. One and two. And I'll leave that just now so that we can get on with the rest of it, and I'll come back later on. Okay, now for the pole pieces, I've marked it so that this lines up with that. That goes in like that. And there we have pole pieces lining up with the pole. And now I can fit the top piece. Brushes go that way, fit it on, and make sure that you push the springs here behind the wheels, sit it down there, and that lines up, and I take the screw and the nut, screw and the nut, there we go, screw in this end, feed it through, a nut in this end, sit it in, there's a hexagonal recess, and gently feed it through so you feel it catching, that it is not too tight. And that's it reassembled. Turn the armature and the wheels are turning. Okay, now we can start to fit the brushes, and I always have difficulty with this bit, so let's have a good laugh, eh? Let's see, I just make a right mess of this. First brush down in there, and nope, that doesn't go. Try this end, up through there, fit it down. Don't let it get too far in because we've got to catch it on the brush, on the spring. And, oops, and that's what happens, you see. That's what happens. I really make a mess of this. Maybe I should just go off camera, yeah? Okay, bye for now. Okay, I've got it all done. These are very fiddly, but I managed to get it done. So I've done all the lubrication, I put the 4 screws in the base plate, and I'm now actually ready to test it. So, let me just clear a bit of space here, and I'll bring in my rolling board, and we'll fire it up and see what happens. I'm actually excited about this. So, there we are. Got my power here. I'm going to put one end on the chassis end, which I think I can never remember. Yeah, one end on here, one on here, and let's fire it up. Take pressure off. It's turning. Yeah, it's a bit sticky, isn't it? I don't like sticky. I wonder if that armature's intermittent. I think it's mechanical because it all seems to be sticking at the same bit. Now, I don't know. Oops, come on. Come on. Yeah, it's like it's doing one turn and sticking. Yeah, it's one turn and sticking. I think there's something on one of the wheels. So I'm going to take it off and I need to have a look at these wheels because when I'm applying the power it turns and then it stops in the same place, and the only thing that stops in the same place are the wheels. The armature takes 2 or 3 turns, the wheels come round, so I think it's something to do with these wheels. So another little pause, and when I've done this I'll investigate the wheels and come back as soon as I can. Well, here it is, got it all built up again. Put the screws in, I've lubricated all the wheels, and now I'm going to test it and see how it runs. You can sit in there, and I'm going to apply the power to the copper pickups, one on that side, one on this side, and try and run the power. Yeah, she's definitely trying to go. Let's bring in a wee bit and you can see. You can see she's definitely working. There's not a lot of power applied to it. Let's wind up a wee bit more. And she's done pretty well. And just bring it back down and the opposite way. Yeah, yeah. Seems to be pretty good. Let's try it on this track. See if we can get it to actually move. And it's interesting to think how long it might have been in this poor condition. So let's have a look and see. Oh, she's moving one way and she's moving another way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her over to my test track and I'll put her on and see if she'll go with the test track. Well, there she is, staying on the track waiting to go. This is part of my own layout which I'm in the middle of dismantling and hopefully to build a new one. And just a matter of interest, just behind her you'll see the observation coach from the Transcon Railway. Just before that you've got a dining car, but in front I have a Ginty, the one that I built up in the video, and she's just sitting there waiting for new decals, and I'm very pleased that she runs very well. Anyway, back to the progress, the project in hand. Back to my class 31 motorised bogie, and I'm just about to apply the power. So I've got a shaky hand. Well, where does that come from? Anyway, let's wind up. So there she goes. Into the back of my layout. And I've kept the power low deliberately because I don't want to just force it round. I want to make sure she does it gracefully. Always sticks in that point. I think it's the point, so I'll give it a wee shove. Don't like that. And round it goes. Round it goes. We can wrap it all back down to the Ginty. And I'm just going to reverse the power. And up she goes. And this time I will wind up the power. And away she goes. You may also notice my transcontinental with the roof off. That's another project in hand. Okay, I think it's time we put this thing back together again. Everything seems to be in good working order, and that's her from getting it as a spares to repair to working in about 5 hours. I'm quite pleased with that. Okay, I also mentioned at the top of the video just before we go how the coupling hook on the dummy bogie coupler was broken. I'm going to get that done maybe at a later time. I don't see a point in putting that into the video. I've lubricated the bogie, that's alright. I'm now going to fit this into the chassis. Just sits in there. There's a pin that allows it to just swivel so much. The top heading screw comes through the top of the chassis. We've got this U-clip which slides in there, clicks in place, and that's that in place. The cover goes on the top. Clicks down at both ends, held together with this big long screw that goes through what I presume is a battery box, and little use of the screwdriver. Make sure I get it. There we go, and that's it. And the last touch is to replace the front coupling mechanism. That sits in there sensibly. It has a screw fitting, and that goes in there, held up there, and there we have a, I think it's a cocoa they call it. One final point was I beginning about the running number, and I thought it was a D5578 when I saw it, but I scraped away the paint and it's a D5572. Perhaps the guy who had it had two of these and obviously wanted different running numbers. That's alright. I'm going to put it back to 5572. Okay, come with me. We'll put it back on the track and see how it runs as it now is. Well, this is on the track. I'm just going to apply power, and there she goes. Smooth as you like. I'll let her come round. We'll get to this end. There she is. Which are disappearing up the other end. Let's bring it back. And coming up from this end. And that's it. Let's see if we can hook it up to a couple of Transcon coaches. I'm just going to switch the power on. Here she comes round. Nice and easy. Over the points, very good. And has she hooked them up? Observation plan at the back, lovely. Let's watch her come around this time. Let's get a track side view. Let's get a track side view. thank you for watching my project on restoring this little Class 31, and I hope it's an inspiration to some of you who are involved in the same sort of thing, and I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Look out for my other videos when I'm restoring other locomotives in the future. Bye!